And I would like to not talk about innovation per se and objectives of innovation. I would like to focus on one of the hows that, in my opinion, plays a critical role in accelerating and improving innovation. And being in a commercial company, I will give you some examples coming from, obviously, our company, and maybe a slightly different perspective on some of the topics. Can move to the next chart, please. So just a couple of words of introduction about our company. We are a $35 billion company today after a significant acquisition we made in the area of industrial biotechnology and definitely in the area of green technologies. We are a global company, even if we are U.S. headquarters, and active in areas going from agriculture to chemicals, biofuels, and other sustainable sources of energy. Our vision, what is really important about our company is that everything we do is based on science, all right? And science as a critical element of innovation. By the way, innovation is not just about technology. Inventions come from R&D, but innovation is a multifunctional process involving not only technology, but also our business people looking at different business models, our supply chain managers looking at different ways to improve supply chains and making them more efficient. At the end of the day, our goal is to create more sustainable solutions wherever we are active in the world. Next, please. What is core to the company, to our company, as I told you, is science. This is a way to represent basically the toolbox we work with. And DuPont has built over more than 200 years a toolbox of technologies. And what we do, the way we do innovation when it is science-based, not only we try to be very good in one area, that's not always possible. We are not always the best in the world in a certain area. In fact, we are rarely in that situation. What we do is to combine technologies. We make connections, and it is at the interface between technologies and competencies in more general terms that innovation is really taking place. Just showing a couple of examples in the area of green energies. One area where we apply these technologies is about using fossil fuels in more effective ways. Let's face it, we will have to use fossil fuels for several decades in a significant way. We have to improve the efficiency of the way we use these fossil fuels and make them as clean as possible and as efficient as possible. That example here is about very simply replacing metals in automobiles and reducing the weight, hence the consumption. And we do that in a sustainable way by developing non-oil-based polymers, plastics, and we do that by combining different technologies as illustrated here. Going from the left where you have more traditional technologies, material science and chemistry, all the way to the right where you have much more biotech-oriented technologies, including agricultural technology. Next, please. Another obvious example in this area is biofuels. And you see that I mentioned specifically two biofuels. One is cellulosic ethanol, so not ethanol directly from starch and sugar, corn for example, but ethanol from cellulose, in a lot of cases basically waste after you have used the eatable part of plants. The second one being biobutanol, once again trying to be more efficient and developing biofuels that are more compatible with existing logistics and systems. Now, in summary, we spend roughly 85% of our $2 billion R&D budget in three areas, three what we call megatrends. One is food. It's about producing more and being more efficient for a certain area of arable land. The second one is about energy. We're talking about new energy, sustainable sources of energy, but also cleaner fossil fuels. And the third one is about protection, protecting people, protecting the environment. And obviously, these three megatrends are interconnected and interdependent. One thing that is very important is that these are not only big challenges, I think you can agree with me on that, but these are becoming very urgent challenges. At the beginning, when we looked at these macro trends and these great big directions for innovation, size was the most important parameter. I think that now we can agree that urgency is added to the equation. We do not have time to do things the way we are used to doing things, more in a linear way. We have to accelerate the innovation process, and that's what I wanted to talk about when I was talking about the how. So if you, in very simple terms, when you look at technology developments, complexity slows down everything. Usually. If you have a very complex problem, it will take a lot of time to solve it. If you have a simple problem, it can be done quickly. Very, very basic concept. The issue is that, again, we do not have time. So what is needed is to break away from that relationship. Next, please. We must break away from that relationship between complexity and speed. We must find ways to go to the upper right side of the diagram here. And collaboration, in our opinion, is the only way to do that. Now, we're talking about taking collaboration. Everybody agrees that collaboration is a good thing, that we can do more things if we collaborate. I'm talking about taking collaboration to another level compared to what we have done so far. Mainly two types of collaborations. Internally, this is under our control. We can do that, and we do that already. That's not a big problem. It takes some efforts, but we can put in place the right framework to enhance internal collaboration. The critical part is external. I'm talking about collaboration with our customers, customers, governments, influencers of the value chains, universities, and on purpose, I do not put anything about the location of these external partners. We're talking about global collaborations, obviously. Traditionally, what we have seen is that we go through three phases when we work on moving innovation to a new economy. The first stage is that this new economy is very dependent. We have technology that was developed in other economies, Western Europe and North America, for example, and these new economies for a while are dependent. Very quickly, there is a strong desire to become independent, and we see a lot of duplication at this stage before we move to the third level, which is the ultimate level, which is interdependency. And what I think we need to work on is develop a framework. Yes, please. We have to develop a framework to eliminate that step in between. In the past, we had time to go through that learning of independence before we can learn about interdependence. I don't think we have time anymore in this area of green energies to do that. We don't have that luxury anymore. So we have to develop the right framework, the right relationships, the enabling laws and regulations and incentives to move as quickly as possible from the first initial stage to the third one, which is interdependence. We have seen it in several cases. In fact, Brazil is an excellent example. You mentioned the technology, the richness of the technology that was developed in Brazil. This is a great example where that transition we moved very efficiently through these different transitions and generated innovation in a much more effective way than before. Thank you very much.